Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at TRB. This is going to be focusing on the higher time frame ideas. We'll also have a lower time frame idea video going up above here, so check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we don't have a lot of price history here. So we have price history from November 2019. Now, the main way that we can be looking at this is that potentially this move is either completed in a higher degree into this high, or alternatively, we are still looking for continuation to the upside. So if we're looking for continuation to the upside, there's a couple of ways that I'm looking for this. Now, the first way that I would be looking for it is that potentially this is wave 1 and we're looking at this as a wave 2. Now, there is potential that this wave 2 could be incomplete. We're going to go over those ideas in a second, but we did come down to this golden pocket. We saw a rally to the upside. We saw a retest of the 0.618, and then we've looked to rally to the upside. Now, with this idea, what we'd be looking for would be a push to the upside in this third wave. Now, within this, what I would be thinking is most likely, if we're looking at this as an impulse looking to develop, is that we would be looking for this yellow count to play out. So what I'd be looking for here is that this would be potentially 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for this third wave to the upside. Now, the third wave target would typically be towards this 192 area, and what we'd be looking at as an invalidation of this count would be 748. If we do continue to rally directly up here, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this level here primarily, and if we start to overshoot that, then potentially the 2.618 might become a target. Now, within this idea here, what we'd then be saying is that this move is looking for the third wave. It is possible, however, that instead of just seeing this move push directly up here, what we could see is something more along these lines, where actually what we have here is this is 1, 2, and then we're going to form another 1 and a 2. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that potentially this move could be completed where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, as we've come up into the zone of the 74.08 to this $57 region. Now, because of that reason, I'm just looking out for the potential here that we could start to see a bigger push to the downside, where we could see a move down somewhere between this 50% and the 786, which would be 22.38 to this 11.96. If we do start to reject down deeper here, I'm also going to be keeping an eye on this previous fourth wave area here towards this 30.98 all the way down to this 24.71, because it is possible sometimes if we are getting extensions in third waves, we might just get a shallow retest of that wave 4, and then we look to go on ahead. Now, the idea here would be, if we do actually see a bigger retracement here, where we do see a pushback down towards a 0.618, what we'd then be looking for is that this would become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where we could see a push up as high as this 1341 to this 802. If we see something like this, we can see that this would actually surpass that target of that 1.618, which is sitting here at this 192. So this is why we just need to keep an eye on this. If we do continue to hold 748, even if we do get a bigger retracement back up into some of these structures, effectively what we could then still be looking at is a bit of a rally to the upside. Now, the other way that we could argue that this is taking place is that this move could actually already be within a fifth wave. And what we'd then be saying is that potentially, because we don't have all the price history, we could argue that previously here we've had 1, 2, and this was actually our third wave. Now, within this idea, what we'd then be saying is that we're looking for a fifth wave. Once again, same idea would be in play here. We could be looking at this potentially as 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to see 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and this could look to push us up towards this 1279 to this 366 level. However, if we are looking at this as a fifth wave, we need to also then include the idea that we could be looking for something like a diagonal pattern here. So if this is a fifth wave and this fourth wave is completed here, so invalidation of this comes by crossing 641, what we could start to see is something along these lines, where we see a bit of a diagonal wedge shape pattern to the upside looking to play out. So if we do just see this complete as A, B, and C, we've got two options. Either it's going to be part of a bigger corrective structure and we're going to look to push down, or alternatively, what we could see is something along these lines, where this whole move is our wave 1. We get 3 waves back to the downside, looking to hold this 1057, then see another 3 waves to the upside for this wave 3, 3 waves down for the wave 4, and then 3 waves up for the wave 5. Now, I've just drawn it off these two highs here. Obviously, this high over here can change, though in reality here, the wedge is only going to get drawn from wherever this wave 1 high ends. So, you know, we could find at a later date that we see a wedge forming between this wave 1 and this wave 3 over here. So going to be keeping an eye on that, but the idea would remain the same even if we do push up here, unless we start hitting that impulsive target that we talked about here, where we are looking for this 192.25. Until we actually hit that point, I would be still on the lookout for that possibility that, you know, we could get something like a diagonal here. Now, the main difference between these two ideas here is that if we are looking at this as a fourth and a fifth, if we do actually get this fifth wave play out as a diagonal, what we might see is that this might not reach the higher target of the 1279 to this 366 level, and we could actually see this just get a break of the wave 3 and then look to break down, or actually look to fail to break this wave 3. And then what this would mean is that if this wave 5 completes over here, we'd then be looking for 3 waves back to the downside, potentially back into this fourth wave here, before seeing the next leg to the upside. Now, if we are looking at this in a corrective way and we want to say, okay, maybe it's not an impulse and we're just seeing corrective structure up, the way that I'm looking at this is more along these lines here, where instead of saying that this is, you know, a 5-wave move and we're looking to continue to extend in a third wave, what we could just have is that this whole move here is corrective to the upside. We have this as our A wave high and we're looking for this as a B wave. Once again, same idea here. We did come back down into this golden pocket area and we have started to move to the upside. If we are looking at this as a C wave, the 1-to-1 target is actually up here at this 966. So if we do get this as 1, 2, potentially another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 5, I'm also going to be keeping an eye out for that possibility that this could just be a bigger ABC pattern. And then what this would mean is after we complete this move to the upside here, we could see a bigger retracement to the downside, bringing us right back down into some of these lower levels, where with some of the impulsive ideas here, we'd be actually looking to rally up much higher than this zone. So this is why, you know, moving forward here, it's going to be important what the structure does. Obviously, there's a lot of time for these things to play out because we're looking at these on, you know, the higher time frame counts here. Now, if we are looking at this B wave here and we want to say, okay, well, what if this B wave is not completed? So this is another thing that I'm looking out for here, is that if the B wave is not completed, what we could see is that this whole move here could just be a corrective move to the downside. We have this as A, B, and then we see the C wave play out. Now we're sitting right in this zone of this 86.40 to this $54 region. Now this is basically the common area for a wave C to face rejection. Now within this idea, what we'd then be saying is that potentially this move is still looking to come down one more time here in a Y wave. Now based off of the high that we currently have over here, what we'd be looking for would be at least a move into this 889 level. So what we'd want to see here is another 3-wave structure to the downside. It is also possible this could become A, B, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would just become a flat correction. But what I'm looking out for more likely here, just given the current structure we have, is that effectively this Y wave is more likely. If we start to push up higher up here towards this 854 zone, then the idea of the flat starts to become more likely. Now, if we do see this play out in 3 waves to the downside, like I said, minimum requirement is going to be here at this 0.618. Some other targets would be this 255 at a 1-to-1. Now, if we overlay this idea of the impulse and of this idea of this being an A wave to the upside, we can see that some of these lower levels here potentially could offer us some support. The 786 region is aligning with that 702. 854 is not far off of the 0.786 lower down here, and if we do see a move down to 1-to-1, we could potentially be looking to just actually sweep this and look to push into the 0.854 area, which is sitting here towards us 236. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do just get this as 3 waves up, it's going to become important what happens after that point. If we just get 3 waves down and then we start to rally up again, then effectively we can be looking at some of those more bullish cases here. If, however, we start to see price breaking to the downside and we start to see either a bigger 5-wave move down here or a bigger 3-wave move to the downside, what we need to be on the lookout for is this Y wave idea. Okay, so just as a recap, within the ideas that we're looking for direct push to the upside, our invalidation is going to be the 641. If we fail to hold this level, then we will be looking for that idea here that we could be within this bigger corrective move. And then from that point, we'd be looking for that continuation to the upside from that point. Now, if we're looking at this impulse, like I said, the invalidation of this being 1-2 is going to be here higher up at the 748. We want to see what happens after this move completes. If we get 3 waves down, this potentially then means that we have that possibility of continuation to the upside, though we'd have to be careful because as a WXY, what we'd be looking for as well would be this move looking to start with 3 waves down and then get 3 waves up and then look for that continuation down. So it's going to be key what happens. If we just get 3 waves up and we start to develop 5-wave structure, which starts to take this high, then we could potentially be looking for this rally in this 3rd wave. If we fail to do so, then that likelihood is still to the downside. So I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below. And also in the description, you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.